Rhys.
Chrissy, my old nemesis.
Aw. I thought I was your friend.
Comes and goes.
Movies are back.
Yeah.
Hooray!
Cool.
Movies are back.
Welcome to Movies Are Back. This is a movie news and review podcast. I'm your host, Christopher John, where we have civil chats about, well, film and stuff, I guess. I don't know. Here's my co-host.
I suppose.
My co-host, Rhys Tarling, is also here.
Yeah, here I am. Hey, how you doing?
Bit of a hot day today. It's a bit sweaty.
Stinking.
Bit sweaty in this room.
Good thing we got some aircon in here, you know.
A little bit. If you do hear that, you most likely hear that in the background, but we needed to have it on. There's no way I'm going to sit in this room with no AC and just sweat.
We generate a lot of heat in here.
Yes,
Heated discussions.
Exactly, yes.
Need some cool air.
A lot of big stuff has come out. One big thing in particular that we'll be breaking down, which is the Superman trailer.
Or more like
Yes, very rock heavy, very guitar heavy for the score that was used for the teaser. So that's the main thing we'll be talking about this week. We'll also be covering a bunch of other trailers that got released, some Marvel news, Christopher Nolan stuff, Clayface of all things, a little bit of Pixar controversy that has happened.
Don't know about that. Keen to hear about it.
Yes, we'll see what your thoughts are on that. But mostly, we'll keep it civil. That's the whole method of this podcast.
Yeah, I suppose.
We mostly end up covering really negative news, get very depressed, and then we cover a movie and go, okay, maybe we feel a little bit better. So hopefully we'll make you feel a little bit better about your week into this holiday period, which is mostly about stress. More than
yeah, it's great.
Yes, It's fun. We'll move on to our first segment, which is What's Going On.
Yeah.
So we're going to be covering a couple of trailers. Now, I've seen the 3 trailers that came out recently. I've seen I've seen 2 of them. I haven't seen the third one. What we'll do is we'll get Rhys to watch the Snow White trailer.
Okay, I'll watch that first.
Yes, and then you can give us your thoughts live, on air.
Yep.
Pre-recorded, and then edited later, 2 days.
It's going to be rough and raw. All right, that sounds good. So it's the one that came out 2 weeks ago? Okay. I'm playing it now.
This is my father's kingdom. I look at you, and I just want to be the fairest of them
So weird to listen to it, because it sounds so terrible.
Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
What? What the fuck? What are those things?
I was not the ghost.
They're supposed to be people.
Oh, this is awful.
This is our kingdom, and now we're here to take
Poor Rachel Zegler.
what we're saying.
Hi-ho.
Okay. You want to hear my reaction?
Yes, let's give us your thoughts on the Snow White trailer. He's just watched it, everybody.
Yeah, overall, really bad. The worst thing is Gal Gadot.
Oh,
She looks awful.
horrible.
You would think it would just be common sense to get like a good actress in that role.
Not her.
Not her. It's so bland and she has no screen presence.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely not.
She's not even trying. And like those dwarves are just, I think you heard me. I just was freaking out when I saw them. Why don't you just cast little people?
Well, that's
I don't get it.
That's what they were going to do, but then Peter Dinklage said, "Oh, why do we have to do Snow White and Seven Dwarfs?"
Who cares what he thinks? Is he like the king of the little people?
No, he's not.
Who cares what he thinks?
Nah,
So
but,
it's
yeah.
okay for him to be king little person in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
But anybody else, no, you can't work.
No.
Like you can't get a...
No, we have to do other stuff.
role.
Even though it's a very old story that it doesn't make them look ridiculous, and it would be such a great opportunity for a bunch of other little people that we've never seen on screen
It's
to have their shot.
It's so backwards because it's like they're trying to avoid offending people, but they've made these racist little people caricatures.
Oh, it's horrible. I
feel offended.
Most of them look just boring, like terrible, like they look like horrible AI Santa Claus. But
they look ghoulish.
Dopey looks really creepy because he's the one without a beard, so he just looks like this weird little kid, but with this giant head.
They look just like Pixar characters interacting with a human person.
They look like Mad Magazine caricatures.
Yeah, it looks terrible.
Yeah. My biggest thing is I love Rachel Zegler.
No, she doesn't look bad in it, and I think her singing will be good. She looks like the only bearable. I know she drew a lot of heat with her comments or whatever,
but she was right, honestly, when she said, the original movie is a little weird because he's a guy that kisses a random unconscious woman. Yeah, it is weird. And she was okay, but what she said wasn't horrible. She wasn't saying the 1937 movie is a piece of shit and I wanted to ruin it with this one. It's like, no, she just said it's a little weird, so we made something a bit newer, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of whether she's right or not, I don't know. But like, she seems like the only passable part of that movie. Like, Absolutely. It looks so bad.
That's the only reason I actually will watch it, is to watch her sing what is most likely going to be an original song that they'll try and, they always do an original song with these remakes to make sure it gets the Oscar nomination, which it never does, by the way. They've literally never, ever gotten nominated for any of these remakes for their new songs. They only just come out, passable at best, and everyone forgets about them and watches the original instead. So I'm in for Rachel Zegler singing. I always am, honestly. But beyond that, this is really the last straw. I mean, they got this and they got Lilo and Stitch next year. Mm-hmm. Moana's getting a remake, but this is this Snow White one. This is the last classic movie that they're going to remake. Beyond that, it's like, I don't know, Bambi.
Best for last, huh?
Yeah, I guess. Let's do the first one last, I guess. Now we can just move on to the Tangled remake that they announced recently.
The self-cannibalization will continue.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's check out 28 Years Later.
Yes, let's do that one.
Keeping in mind, I've actually never seen the 28 Weeks or 28 Days. So I'm going in pretty raw here. A
little bit.
Yeah.
7, 6, 11, 5, 4, 17, 32 the day before.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I really love the eeriness. Mm-hmm. It's less like scary and more eerie.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot of, I would argue, what the first movie did. This is 28 Years Later. It's a sequel that's going to be to 28 Days and 28 Weeks Later. 28 Weeks Later came out in 2007, so it has been,
it's been
quite a long time. The first movie came out in 2002, so it's actually closer to 28 years than people wanted. 28 months later for a number of years.
Too much time as well.
Yeah, exactly. So now it's more accurate to do 28 years later.
I think it would be interesting to see, if you watch some of the trilogy, like how they would show the degradation of society.
Yeah, I would. See, that's the problem. 28 Weeks Later is not that good. It's got a great opening sequence.
Yeah, I heard that.
That one you can see on YouTube. It's terrific. It kind of tells its own little miniature story.
Yeah.
And that it goes to some interesting places and develops the world that was established in 28 Days Later.
Did Danny Boyle do that too?
He did just the first one.
Oh, so he's coming back.
Yes, this is a big return for him.
Who did the second one?
He's a guy named Juan Carlos Fresnadillo. I think he's a Spanish filmmaker who had done some independent stuff.
I thought he was Danny Boyle's non-union Mexican equivalent.
It's like Senor Spielbergo.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, Alex Garland, he also wrote the first movie, so he's returning here. So this is also now apparently going to be kicking off a trilogy for them.
Really?
So they're going to do this, and then the next one is going to be directed by Nia DaCosta, who did the Marvels and Candyman movie. And then the third movie might be Danny Boyle, might be Alex Garland. We don't really know. Cillian Murphy is confirmed to be in these movies. He is returning.
Isn't he just a zombie in that?
No, people thought that he was. There's a random zombie in the trailer
Looks
that's
like him.
Really kind of emaciated, very skinny.
Yeah,
but that's actually an art dealer from London who just has a very...
I thought that was Cillian Murphy.
No, a lot of people did, but that guy has a very, very distinct look. He's a very extremely skinny person. I think he does have a condition of some kind.
Yeah.
So they just cast him because he just had such a great look for this zombie look. And there's a lot of things in this trailer that that fascinate me, because the zombies in the other movies, the idea is that if they don't have a food source, if you say put them on an island or you put yourself on an island, they wouldn't be able to swim and they would eventually die out because they wouldn't have any food sources.
Yeah.
But obviously that's not happening. Something is evolving with them in some way. There's a particular shot where there's a bunch of them running past the tree, but there's one that's just standing there, not running.
I really like, it's nothing to do with the zombies, but I really liked that sort of fuzzy radio voice.
That is a reading from a Rudyard Kipling poem called Boots. The recording is done by actor Taylor Holmes in 1915.
You know what? Yeah, because I was going to say it evokes like something from a long time ago when like a world war would happen and like there
World
was
War
news.
I, actually, yeah.
Yeah, news breaking out. It had that feeling of like disaster or like global danger.
Catastrophe, yeah.
And you can't, it's not like a reporter on TV and there's footage. It's just this crispy voice panicking. It's a much more scary.
It's so disturbing.
It's disturbing.
Yeah.
I think that really makes...
I'm very excited to see, because this movie was shot, I think we talked about this on another episode, that it's shot on an iPhone.
28 years later?
Yeah.
Really?
So the idea of that is because, and when people heard about that, like, why would you shoot a big movie on an iPhone? That's dumb. There's a reason for it. It's because the original movie was shot on camcorders.
Oh, was that
because there's a real sort of low well, not really. It was a low budget movie, but they shot it on whatever cameras you could buy at a local store for like consumer grade cameras.
Yeah.
Like your JVC sort of digital tapes, essentially. So it's got a real low grade, lo-fi look. That was very distinct for the time. It kind of reminds me of like the Dogma 95 movement.
Yeah, when they were just using natural light and
exactly.
all that. Yeah.
Something like that. It made them a lot easier to film the entire thing. They didn't have to have these large crews or whatever. It could be very, very small. Again, with this, I mean, they shot it on an iPhone, but they're using like $100,000 lens anyway. But it's still, it's got that sort of shudder, that sort of jitter to the image that I think is very, very cool, and it's still grounded in that aesthetic from the first movie.
But if you think about it, how we watch a lot of things that are happening in the world is through our phones anyway. I wonder if that, like, in our brain, it makes it feel more real.
I think that's the idea, is that what is the modern equivalent? If they did that then with consumer grade cameras, what do we all have in our hands and our homes?
Would the Blair Witch be less effective if that was shot with like standard Hollywood cameras and not camcorder? Like,
that's the same thing. They probably would have shot it on an iPhone, which I think they tried to do in that most recent movie. They tried to shoot it through drones.
Yeah,
a lot of the times, which that didn't work at all.
It didn't work.
So that's 28 Years trailer. Looks amazing. I saw enough of the Karate Kid Legends trailer to get the vibe of what they're doing. Looks like some really cool stunt choreography they're using, because it's Karate Kid. Come on, they have to do that. What do you think about it, Mr. Cobra Kai?
Because I'm a big Cobra Kai fan.
Yes, which I've never seen.
Yep, I was looking for... Cobra Kai has kind of become like a action comic booky Power Rangers show. Still very fun, well done, but you know, the tone changed from season 1, and I was surprised at how kind of serious this looked. Like, it looks... The cinematography was very nice. Like some of those shots, you know. I'm really more excited for it now because it doesn't look like a sort of a cheap cash in on Cobra Kai's popularity.
Does it look a lot like a legacy sequel, like we've gotten with, you know, Star Wars or something like that? Where it's, you know, it's the old guys, but then it's also a little bit of the new guys, and it's passing the torch or something like that.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's in that vein. Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I don't really know what the plot is. I guess it's, you know, I mean, I got the idea. You know, they got the Han from the remake coming back. Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio. Which Ralph Macchio looks great, by the way.
I think that is such a cool idea. Like, I
think the tagline is really, sorry to interrupt, but I think the tagline is really clever, like one tree, two branches.
Yeah.
There's that's a really kind of clever way to tie the kung fu and the Miyagi-Do kind of karate in. I think it looks great.
Do you know how impacted by, like, how connected is it to Cobra Kai? Would someone...
I think, so from what I understand is, so Cobra Kai's finishing in February, the very last episodes. This will be set after Cobra Kai.
Okay.
And I think you could do it without tying it to Cobra Kai.
Okay.
Like, you could have just watched the first Karate Kid and you could watch the remake with Jaden Smith.
Yeah.
And I think you could watch this one. I don't think it's going to really...
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a separate thing. It looks tonally different. And even Ralph Macchio's kind of performance, something about it is a little bit different.
I mean, it's age more than anything.
But different from Cobra Kai.
Okay.
Because in Cobra Kai, I guess he's really... That's its own kind of thing where he's like...
Isn't he playing it a bit more arch in that series?
It's a bit more arch.
Yeah.
In this one, he's playing it almost more like... Yeah, this is like from the Karate Kid, but he's a grown man now.
Yeah, okay.
Like, it seemed less like... He's less like a sage, powerful figure and more like... He's the middle-aged guy now.
Okay.
You know, something about it is different. Maybe I'm reading too much into it.
No. I think you might be on the money there. I mean, all three of these movies are coming out next year.
Because I have a feeling Ralph Macchio will want to do something different with this movie and not just make it like Cobra Kai in the big screen. I think he would want to do something kind of different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. I'm interested.
Yeah.
Because I'm just interested in good movies.
Yeah.
Just in general, I'm a fan of at least the first Karate Kid movie. I probably will actually end up watching Cobra Kai to prepare for this movie. I just will, just in general. But if I don't,
show.
Hopefully the movie can still... If I don't end up doing that, hopefully the movie can still get me...
I'm sure it will stand on its own.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Moving on, we have a big Marvel piece of news.
What's that?
Chris Evans is returning to the MCU in Avengers Doomsday, which was announced in a sort of leak, not really a big press release.
Not much fanfare.
No.
Just
they did the Robert Downey Jr. thing at Comic-Con with the whole mask and, oh my God, people going crazy or whatever. But this is just like, oh yeah, he's back. There you go.
I'm not into this.
No, neither am I.
I'm not into this. Like, his ending in Endgame was so satisfying.
No, perfect.
It was beautiful.
I don't know. I mean, the report is that he won't be coming back specifically as Steve Rogers. That's the idea. Is I think
he'll be Steve Rogers, but he'll be Nomad, right?
Well, I think the idea is he might be Captain Hydra.
Oh, like an alternate.
Well, yeah, because Robert Downey Jr. is coming back, but he's playing Doctor Doom.
Yeah,
which I suspect is going to be an evil version of Tony Stark that wants to be Doctor Doom.
Right.
So it's going to be like that sort of mix of Iron Man and Doom's helmet or whatever.
Yeah,
I think that's what they're trying to do. Is that it's the multiverse stuff. So it's all topsy-turvy, horrible, evil versions of characters that we're familiar with. So they'll have the same actors. They also announced that, Hayley Atwell is going to come back as Peggy Carter. If she comes back as Agent Carter from What If Season 2, where she's got like the Infinity Gauntlet and Hela's helmet and Heimdall's sword and the Captain... This is actually what happened in that show. It was horrible. It was such a terrible... Like, she was so overpowered that she could just like destroy the entire universe. She was like the greatest hero of all time.
What is this obsession with making her Captain America or whatever the fuck?
Know.
I don't... Stop trying to do that.
Yeah.
It's not interesting.
It was so bad in What If Season 2. It was just such a waste. Like, that character is nothing. It was a nice little fun, oh, look, what if Captain America, but it was Agent Carter? Cool.
Yeah,
and then
that's a one-off idea.
They did a little bit of that in Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, and she gets murked.
Which is funny.
Away.
It was pretty funny that she got murdered by her own shield.
Yeah.
But that's it. None of this... As someone had said that if I have to see Agent Carter in the same thing that she did from What If Season 2, I'm going to walk out of the theater. Because I will too. Like, that is just so uninteresting to me on a story level, character level. It's just, I'm so hesitant about this movie. I don't even want to say I'm cautiously optimistic. I don't think I'm really optimistic. It's just, let's see what happens. Honestly, just whatever.
Bringing back the Russos, bringing back Chris Evans, bringing back Robert Downey Jr. It all just screams like
safe.
Just we need to just make sure this is a hit. We don't know.
Oh yeah.
Like it feels.
Scared.
It just feels like it's all made out of fear.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Like complete fear.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you wouldn't be in this position if you'd bothered to actually build a new team.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Not just introducing an endless glut of characters that go nowhere.
I mean, I've said this, that after Endgame, I'm not as interested in the sort of, big new overarching universe and how can we build to the next big thing. I like the singular stories. Hey, here's this own little corner of whatever. Let's just do, like, that's what Deadpool and Wolverine was. It was on its own little section.
They should have just...
on a little island doing its own little thing.
I mean, it's easy to Monday morning quarterback it or whatever, but after Endgame, they should have just done X-Men, Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, and just go do that. Like, and don't worry about whatever else, because this is pretty bad. Yeah. Honestly, it's not great.
No.
I don't want to be a downer.
No. I don't feel like you are. I feel like you're very much capturing a lot of what other people are feeling. Yeah. I don't want to say it's the superhero fatigue, but it's definitely just... It's
Marvel fatigue is pretty real.
Fatigue is one word, but people are just apathetic. They just don't... They're not as interested just because you can't just put Marvel on something now and have everyone just go, oh, it's a Marvel movie. It's got to be good. It's more of, This is the resounding...
They actually have to work to get people on board now.
Exactly. I don't think they've been working very well, particularly with the Disney Plus stuff. A lot of it's been very average.
Yeah. So obviously I'll watch it. I'm not going to say I'm not going to watch it, but
we'll see.
I will see.
Well, there's a very much we'll wait and see for that. More interesting, I would say, on the other side of things, there was a Clayface movie that they have announced.
Yeah.
That is coming out September 11th to 2026. It's going to be written by Mike Flanagan, who is the
horror guy.
Yes, Haunting of Hill House, Haunting of Bly Manor, Midnight Mass, Midnight Club, The Fall of the House of Usher. Great series. He also wrote and directed Dr. Sleep, Hush, Gerald's Game, Oculus, terrific horror movies. And he also had said years ago that, I would love to do a Clayface movie that's inspired by the Clayface episodes from the Batman animated series.
Yeah, those episodes are very tragic.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if there will be any Batman in this.
Well, this is being produced by Matt Reeves. So now there's a question of whether or not...
in the Batman?
I think it might be. I don't think it's going to be in part of the James Gunn DC universe.
So in that case, it's not going to be like the monstrous Clayface. It's going to be a more grounded thing.
Like an actor who's got sort of like a
some
skin
condition.
Something like that. I
and
think
some psychosis.
that would definitely be something that they would lean more into if it's the Batman crime saga universe. The Penguin, connected way of doing things. I still am 100% on board because I think that's a great idea.
I think it's cool.
Because I love Mike Flanagan. He can kind of do no wrong. Also, they said that it's going to be a very mid-budget type of movie. Like about a $40 million budget, which is so perfect.
You can go all out and make it like an R-rated, like psychological kind of thing, you know?
We're not having to have big CGI spectacle or something like that.
Yeah, especially if they're not doing the actual hulking monstrous Clayface.
Exactly, yeah. Which I think this kind of leans into some of those rumors that Clayface would be a part of the Batman Part 2.
I'm still hearing that.
But I think that might... I mean, we could see that he might be a part of that movie.
Yeah.
But they're shooting the Batman Part 2 next year.
Yeah.
And at this point, I would say that both of these movies will be coming out in the same year. Whether or not they're connected is an interesting idea.
It would be very weird if Clayface was in Batman Part... I don't think that's a... You can do that with the Joker.
There might be some references to it. I think that's where I think the rumors have persisted, is that people thought it was going to be Batman Part 2.
Yeah.
But now we realize it might just be its own thing over here.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
That one is a wait and see, but on a more positive angle, I would argue.
No, definitely.
A little bit of Christopher Nolan news, 3 pieces. He and his wife, Emma Thomas, have been knighted.
She got a damehood, right?
Yes. He is now Sir Christopher Nolan, and she is Dame Emma Thomas.
Does that mean in credits it'll say directed by Sir Christopher Nolan?
Hell yeah. Which sounds so cool. Like, I don't care about the royal family, but man...
Michael Caine is the Sir Michael Caine, isn't it? Isn't he?
Well, hang on, actually, they don't credit
But they don't credit him as Sir. Or Ben Kingsley either.
Or Ian McKellen. Or Patrick Stewart.
Yeah, so probably not.
But I want him to say directed by Sir Christopher Nolan, because that's such a flex.
That would look funny.
That's so cool, though.
Yeah, it's cool.
I don't really care about the royal family, but man, it's cool to just say Sir Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
That's good for him. He said that his favorite movie of 2024 was Gladiator 2.
Really?
Because he's a Ridley Scott fanboy. Like, he just loves Ridley Scott. Even though he was doing Q&As with Denis Villeneuve and praising Dune Part 2. He's like, oh, wow, what an amazing movie. What was your favorite Nolan movie of 2024, Christopher Nolan? Oh, it was Gladiator. Like, that's, okay.
Yeah.
Weird.
But he does have strange taste. I mean, Chris Nolan loves Michael Bay movies.
Yes, he did say that. He loves Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
He said that, I think he at one point said that Alien 3 is like his second favorite Alien movie above Aliens.
His tastes are not what you would think, I think.
No, I'm surprised though that he said that one, because the cinematography is not all that strong, and this is Nolan we're talking about. He's a very, he loves film, he loves the look of film, he loves what that can do for cinema, and Gladiator 2 is a very digital looking movie. So it's interesting that he has that sort of perspective.
Yeah. Well, it's a big grand movie,
Yeah, well, again, it's just the Ridley Scott nature of it all more than anything. And his voice was used by Netflix for
AI.
Yes,
wasn't it?
It was an AI generated version of his voice to announce accomplishments for the Netflix film division at their holiday party this year.
I mean, what the fuck?
Which is so funny that they can't get Christopher Nolan because they're such a bad studio for theaters that he wants nothing to do with them. So they resort to getting his voice to say, hey, everybody, we've done such a great job here at Netflix. We've made some of the worst movies of the entire year. Some absolute bottom of the barrel, true garbage. But don't worry, everyone can pat themselves on the back. Here's Christopher Nolan to tell us how great we are.
This feels like something out of a South Park episode or something. It's fucking beyond a joke.
It's parodic more than anything. It's just, it's a joke. Netflix is a joke. They have a whole Twitter account that's called Netflix is a joke, but it's true. They are.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The best that they can do now is just have movies that they buy from film festivals that are already good and then just put them on a platform. That's nice.
Yeah.
That's cool because all of their other originals are dog shit.
Yeah, they suck.
Horrible. Moving on to something a little more controversial. Pixar has removed a transgender character's storyline from their Disney Plus series Win or Lose. So there was meant to be a character. This is a show that's about a softball team for like 12-year-olds or something like that.
I did hear about this. So that's a Pixar thing.
Yeah, so it's Pixar's first TV series that they're wanting to do.
Yeah.
Fully like their own story or whatever. And there was going to be a transgender character, or maybe not transgender label, but at least a gender non-conforming kid who was feeling a little bit of dysphoria. They're not really sure of what their identity is. And it was going to involve them being a little confused about the male or female bathroom. And I've seen a little bit of an animatic that actually got leaked online about this. Very simple thing. And then the episode storyline was going to be them questioning this and proposing the questions to other people and having them come to a point of reconciliation that, okay, well, if you're feeling like this, it's okay. I think we can all be here to support you, and would come to a very nice, even sort of resolution to the whole thing. They've cut the entire storyline because the political landscape in America has totally changed. Transgender people are now going to be most likely completely banned from their government institutions. Healthcare would be most likely banned within the next couple of years. So Disney is trying to follow suit. And their response was simply, when it comes to animated content for younger audiences, we recognize that many parents would prefer to discuss certain subjects with their children on their own terms and timeline. Politely, fuck off, because that's stupid.
Well,
I get parental rights, but what?
It makes perfect sense. I mean, the company that is doing Toy Story 5, of course they're going to do the safe and cowardly thing.
Absolutely.
They got a blowback just for having a hint of a gay couple in Lightyear.
Oh, God, yeah.
And they probably attribute that to the movie tanking, even though the movie tanked because it was boring and it sucked.
How many times have they said, this is going to be the first movie with the first same-sex character, and that same-sex character either has no lines, is completely superfluous to the plot,
That's
or
why
is
it's annoying.
ugly.
They do it with no conviction.
No, exactly.
They do it just to say they can be progressive, but it's something that can easily be deleted for international markets or the domestic markets if they want. And they kind of want it to propel the movie into a kind of a discourse where it's talked about.
They know that
it's all fake.
They want to fly the pride flag in June because they know they can make money out of that market.
Look, it's rainbow, I don't know if we've talked, it's rainbow capitalism.
Oh God, yeah.
It's bullshit. Of course they'll do this if,
they want to make Mickey ears with the pride flag on it.
No, if there's anti-LGBTQ fervor sweeping the country or the world or whatever, they'll go along right with that.
Yeah.
When it seemed like
as soon as it becomes unfashionable, they'll just drop it like a sack of shit.
Of course. Like, they're not even immoral. They're amoral.
Yeah.
Like, they're just going where the money is and where the popular sentiment is. So it doesn't surprise me that they do that.
I mean, it doesn't surprise me either. It just annoys me that that's their response, that they want to say, oh, it's parental rights. They can have that discussion with them in privacy of their own home. And yet they made a Baymax series that included a whole episode, which was Baymax helping a little 12-year-old girl with her first menstruation.
Yeah.
Because she freaks out and goes, oh no, I don't know what to do. And Baymax says, don't worry, it's a perfectly normal thing. Here's a lot of medical facts about this. And I saw that with a female friend of mine who watched that and went, oh, I wish I had that when I was a little girl, because I felt a lot of fear. I felt very scared about this thing that was happening to me. I didn't understand it.
But you assume because you think you're annoyed because you're taking the explanation as like a honest faith explanation.
Well, no, I know it's not an honest face, but
it's
it's so duplicitous.
Yeah.
They want to say one thing and then do another. That they've already done this for something else.
Yeah.
but because it's trans rights, now it becomes unfashionable in the political landscape because they don't make up a majority. They're such a small minority that we can just cut it and no one would really care.
No,
but it's just
if Trump didn't win, do you think they'd jump to this decision?
They might just cut it anyway.
They might have done it anyway, but I don't think they would have jumped on it like they have.
No, and we're seeing a lot of that. There was a lot of other reports about other things of getting rid of DEI sort of procedures or whatever. And it's annoying, it's gross, but at the end of the day, I think James Gunn had talked about this. He had said this, that people are more divisive online than they are in real life. Because I think, honestly, like you talk to normal people and they go, oh, okay, if people want to do that, that's cool. Just make sure you're not harming anyone. That's it. Really normal, rational response. But online stuff blows it out.
No, I think we're at the point now, we're getting into sort of different territory, but I think the online discourse is genuinely warping people's brains in real life. Well, I think it's actually infecting the real world now.
Yeah. We'll end this segment on a little thing I want to do because I just want to get your sort of raw reaction from this. The What If Season 3 episode titles were revealed. And I just want to throw them at you. And I want you to just give me
I'm ready.
Raw Rhys. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
So, episode 1, what if the Hulk fought the Avengers?
What? That happened? They did that 10 years ago.
I think
12 years ago.
I think
they did that twice.
Yeah, I think that's the mech suit episode that they want to do.
What if Tony Stark became Iron Man? What's the next episode?
What if he didn't?
What if he didn't?
Ooh, so crazy.
Interesting.
What if Agatha went to Hollywood?
Who cares?
That's meant to be in the set in like the 1940s.
All right.
And it's like, I've seen a little bit of it. It's all black and white and it involves Kingo, sorry, because he's meant to be an old...
To be fair, I haven't seen Agatha, so I don't want to come at it. In my head, I'm like, what if she did? So what if she did?
The what if stuff can honestly, every season can have at least one episode that's okay. That one was nice. So, yeah, that one might be probably the one I'm more interested in because I liked Agatha all along.
Yeah. No, so that's why I'm not shitting on it. I've heard that show's good.
This one is episode 3. What if the Red Guardians stopped the Winter Soldier? I don't know. What if?
What if?
What does that do?
What?
They become mates,
What have they got to do with each other? Like, have they had some enmity or something? Like,
what episode 4? What if Howard the Duck got hitched?
What?
Yeah, what if, man? Like, whoa, it's so crazy.
Howard the Duck.
What if he got married?
Are we really going to Howard the Duck as like a fucking subject now?
Maybe that'll be the one that introduces Storm,
He gets hitched to Storm?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
What if? Why not?
Episode 5. What if the emergence from Eternals destroyed Earth? Now, that one sounds good.
Okay, when that giant creature comes out of the planet.
Was it Tiamat? What if that blew up Earth? What if Earth was destroyed because of the big thing that went...
Seems kind of a dead end, no?
I mean...
Destroys the Earth, all the Avengers, everyone's dead.
Everyone's fucked. Done.
Yeah, what is... So, I don't know.
The Guardians or something? They would just go, oh, that sucks. Anyway.
What if Thanos killed everybody?
Cool.
What? All
right. Yeah, okay. What if, man?
Yeah.
What if... what if 1872...
What do you mean?
What if What if the year 1872?
Wait, I think
it's meant to be Western.
Yeah, I think there's some series. No, there isn't. So what if they were just in 1872?
Yeah, what if Shang-Chi was a cowboy? That's the idea.
What?
Okay, yeah. Again, what if, man? What if The Witcher disappeared? Is the second last.
Who's
episode.
The Witcher?
The Witcher. The Watcher.
The Watcher disappeared.
Big baldy.
Well, all he does is watch. Would anyone notice if he disappeared?
Also he disappeared he got beaten up by Ultron in the first season.
Yeah. I mean, all he's supposed to do is just show up when something happens, but he doesn't actually do anything.
He says, that's a bad thing to do, and they go, okay.
Yeah, the point of that is
Stop
he watches.
Doing that, okay?
He's not the doer, he's the watcher. So if he goes away, nothing would happen.
His entire purpose is, I can't interfere, even though every season he's interfered.
What if the watcher was blind?
Yeah,
who cares?
It's the Star Trek thing of like, we can't interfere in other cultures.
The prime
or whatever.
directive.
Yeah, they still do it anyway, fuck it. But then the last episode is just called, What If? What If?
No, you're kidding.
What if, man? Oh.
What if we ran out of ideas?
That's not a what if. It happened. It happened a long time
That's what
ago.
you could call this whole list. What if we ran out of ideas? What if we scraped the bottom of the barrel?
What if we took a great concept that could have gone on for years and we completely cut the bottom out and we failed to do anything with it within 2?
Yeah, what if?
What if, man?
Wow, it's good that this is the last. Jesus.
The last season that we'll be doing for this show.
Horrendous.
Just as I said, every so often it's just one episode will be cool, I guess, but it just doesn't do anything. It doesn't move the needle. It doesn't offer any new sort of brand new concept that people have always wondered.
They're so inconsequential.
Yeah.
And they're never going to get really weird with it because obviously it's a PG cartoon for babies.
Yeah.
So why not? You can't even get fucked
babies.
up with it.
Yeah.
What's the point?
No, they can't, because it's Disney, because they can't do, they can't show blood or sort of extreme content, even though, I don't know, man, like Marvel comics have sometimes gone to that point depending on the character, I guess.
Yeah.
There's a bad concept that's been executed even worse.
Yeah.
Now, we'll move on to The Thing. The Big Thing is not going to be a movie this week because, there's a bunch of movies that did come out, but we haven't seen any of them because we don't really care. So we're going to be talking about the Superman teaser.
Yeah. No.
I'd like to do this shot by shot.
Okay,
kind of
yeah.
like
Go
I've
through
got the
each
teaser
shot.
up here. So the first couple of shots, this was released, what was it, yesterday? Well, no,
Yeah.
it was
No, it was Thursday night.
Thursday night for us, which
For
was
us.
the Thursday
Morning for them.
sort of, it's
Yeah.
time. It's a weird thing.
Thursday night.
Yes, so this was the Superman trailer released then. I watched it twice. The night
Only
that it came out.
twice?
Yeah.
I've watched it 100 times now.
I watched it 3 times now, but I watched it twice when it first came out.
Yeah, same.
I
Because
just
it's a
sat
lot
there.
to take in.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's a trailer that doesn't have barely any dialogue. It's just people just
Couple lines, yeah.
people just going Superman. He has a little bit at the
With
start.
the crypto.
Yes, but it's just mostly people just chanting Superman in different versions. It's
That
so
bit.
good
Fucking goosebumps.
because there's no title. They just say Superman over
You know
and
what
over
it
again.
is.
You know what it is,
You
man.
know who this man is.
First couple of shots is the which I think we now confirmed because they shot it there. It's the Norwegian sort of glaciers or sort of ice plains.
Yeah.
Which they shot for real, and Superman is doing what my brother had said. Oh my god, he's doing the Yamcha pose.
I've heard that. Yeah, I saw that.
Which I don't know
meme.
what that is.
I saw
but
I
had
was
to look
like,
it up.
yeah, it's cool.
It's when Yamcha, I guess, from Dragon Ball Z, he gets killed.
Craters into the...
Yeah.
But I was like, that's specific to Yamcha. I thought that happened all the time in that show. I thought every character would have crashed to
So now
Earth.
people are thinking, is that intentional or is it just coincidental?
Well, I think the action from Superman, I'm sure they watched Dragon Ball Z as like inspiration.
Yes.
Like Man of Steel certainly did.
So we have
we have
Superman kind of bleeding out in the snow, which is a very interesting way to kind of introduce this new Superman.
I think it's great.
Bleeding.
Yeah,
and vulnerable.
it shows him in a vulnerable state, and you got questions like, what did that to him? Like,
Yeah.
what's making him bleed and
What
stuff.
could get to that point where he's breathing like...
You've also got like a larger meta thing to it. Like, obviously, the character's in a bad state at the moment.
Kind of, yeah.
with,
For the general populace.
for the general population,
People
it's
see him as either being
those Zack Snyder
lame
movies
or a murderer.
Did no favors to his image.
Yeah, exactly.
You could also even go so far as to say Superman kind of embodies America,
Oh, absolutely.
and he's looking fucking defeated and
Well,
bleeding.
when he was created back in the 30s, it was
Yeah.
to represent Jewish immigrants.
Yeah.
That was. He was created by 2 Jewish writers.
Yeah.
It was meant to be this sort of the Ubermensch. This
Yeah.
sort of a very. It's not. People keep that. Some people say that he's Jesus. He's a metaphor for Jesus and Christianity. No, if you compare him to Jesus, you're missing the point of what Superman is. Any person who says, "Oh yeah, he sacrifices himself for humanity. He comes from the stars and his father is God." No, he's meant to be a Jewish immigrant. That is the absolute core of his sort of identity. I know other versions of trying to treat him more godlike, but he's meant to be kind of much more normal in that way with extraordinary powers.
Yeah.
And that's the grounding of him, is that he's a normal, humble person inside, but he feels this weight of what he's able to do with all these powers. It's the simplest way to break it down for him.
And I think the wheezing, like his wheezing, is a good touch too. Like it just adds a little bit of like, danger or intrigue to it.
Exactly.
Not something we've never seen him beaten
Yes.
that badly in anything.
We've got a couple of shots of him as Clark Kent looking very nerdy with his his like Jerry curl, sort of like very curly at the front, which is interesting that when he becomes Superman, he just goes like slicks his hair with his hands or something like that, because it's very, very front, but when he's Superman, it's very slicked. So does he?
But I think that's really clever. Like, it really differentiates them.
That's true. I mean, I looked at it was a comparison of Henry Cavill when he's Superman and Clark Kent. I'm just like, he's just when he's Clark Kent, he's just wearing a button-up shirt and glasses, and that's it.
This is also like from All-Star Superman, the best Superman story, and one this takes inspiration from. In that one, Clark Kent's hair is very disheveled. His posture's bad.
Yes.
And like, it's actually so bad, he looks actually more chunky than muscular. Like, he's just like a big oafish looking guy.
Yeah, he's meant to be kind of a bit
like country boy. Like, country boy can't navigate the city, and they're pulling that here. Like, when he's walking into the building, he looks clumsy and not sure of himself.
Yes. So he's walking into Daily Planet, and I can see the hunched over shoulders. When he sits down, it's all just kind of like he looks he's nervous. He doesn't know where he is.
Yeah, he's out of his element being there. Exactly. And he looks out of his element.
Absolutely. And that's so perfect to kind of really accentuate the difference between the two.
Yep, which is about time they started doing that.
Exactly. I've got first shot of Rachel Brosnahan from The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
I gotta say, I love her little gait, like her little swagger into the office.
So she's our Lois Lane. Also, David Corenswet is our Superman.
Yes.
For those who
so she's walking in looking the spitting image from the comics, from the animated series. They couldn't have cast. This is central casting. Like, they couldn't have cast better.
Absolutely.
When I heard it was Rachel Brosnahan, I'm like, you have to pick Rachel Brosnahan.
Yeah,
it has to be her.
I realize now that is just perfect. Just looking at, I've just got the image of just her, just the way that the way she's holding her arms.
Yeah,
in a certain way.
She's just like she's dominating the space. Like, it's perfect.
That you've got this sort of really large dude who's kind of hunching away from her.
Trying not to take up space, and you got this little woman who's like, I own this space.
I mean, that is essential. Margot Kidder, Christopher Reeve, back in the old days. Like, that's. She's spitting image in that way. I pointed this out to you that there's a shot here of Lois Lane's desk is right across from Clark Kent's. Even just the way that the light is coming through in the windows of the Daily Planet office, that looks exactly like the Superman animated series.
Yes,
the way that
they're pulling inspiration from as well,
which is so perfect, because that's what I'm getting a lot of, and we'll get into this more with the other shots. That this trailer or this teaser, correctly. It feels like the movie is taking the John Williams themes, the sort of Richard Donner, colourful, bold, very earnest take that they had in the 1970s. But then we've also got the really sort of comic book accurate take that the Superman animated series was able to pull off back in the late 90s, early 2000s, and mixing it all together with James Gunn's very sort of trademark way of not only shooting the movie, but I think his political themes, his emotional themes, how he's able to make people really, really care for superhero characters while still making them larger than life, and able to do crazy, crazy things, but still making them real people. He's done that multiple times now,
which we'll see soon. So let's go to the next shot.
Yes, next shot is the Kansas Clark or the Kent family homestead, which very, very small.
I like how modest it looks. It doesn't look like a huge property
or a huge barn and this massive 3-story house or whatever.
There's a lot of humble aura here, like Jonathan Kent, the guy playing him,
Pruitt Taylor Vince.
He looks like a farmer, like a big schlubby guy.
Yes,
but he has this quality just in this 2 seconds where you want to give him a hug. Like, he looks so sweet.
That's what I'm watching Clark Kent do, is giving his dad a hug.
Yeah, and I'll say it's such a beautiful looking scene.
Oh God, yeah.
And I think what's going on there is I have a theory that either he's been diagnosed with some terminal illness, which would be really heart-wrenching. Like, I think actually Martha's already died and he's been diagnosed with some terminal...
Martha's in this movie?
Yeah, she is, yeah.
Okay.
I think maybe this is like some point in the movie where he's returning to the farm.
Possibly, yeah.
And, he's got some bad news and Clark is like trying to comfort him.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole sort of idea of Jonathan Kent, is that... I mean, it's accentuated so perfectly in the original film from 1978 that Jonathan Kent dies from something that Superman cannot save him from.
Yeah, and I think, but in that case, it was quick, like it was a heart attack.
Yeah,
but in this case,
it's that line that Jeff East, the actor who's playing Superman, overdubbed by Christopher Reeve, had said that all of these powers and I couldn't even save him. That's the idea of when Jonathan Kent dies. It's meant to be really impactful to his character to make him realize that like you can do everything, but at some point you can't save everybody.
It doesn't need to be in a fucking tornado.
No, son. You can't save me,
for some
even though you
convoluted reason.
You could probably move faster than the speed of light.
But
this tornado's going about 100 miles an hour. That might be a little bit faster.
And to add insult to injury, we'll have Henry Cavill saying it in a flat, emotionless voiceover. I watched my father die, which is something Superman would never do or say. Yeah. Anyway, let's go back to this.
Also, by the way, in that scene, you're not supposed to go under a bridge if there's a tornado. That's the last thing you should do.
And yeah,
that actually does it. That makes it worse.
Yeah,
because it creates a wind tunnel which you can. They see that in the new Twisters movie. They get under a bridge and they all get sucked out into the tornado at the end.
And let me tell you, just one more thing. I don't care who you are. When a tornado sweeps you up, you're not standing there stoically taking it. You're fucking panicking.
No, because there's rubble and shit flying around everywhere. There's rubble and shit. You're scared. It's
you're not
horrifying.
Just standing there looking like a GQ model. Okay.
We promise this will be the last thing that we say about Man of Steel.
Yes.
It's hard to resist it.
Because there's some... Okay, anyway, let's continue.
The next shot we have... I was a little confused about this because I just completely forgot everything that had been revealed about this movie. It's Superman back in the snow, bloodied, and he starts whistling really hard. Now, we've seen that in 78 when he whistles for the cab.
Yeah.
And he almost like blows out the windows or something.
Yeah.
Like, people just go, whoa, Jesus, that was insane. Oh, I think, was that 78 or was that... No, Superman Returns he did that, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Correctly, if I remember.
Yeah.
So he does that. And I was thinking, okay, why is he whistling? And then we realize that there's a giant piece of... a big snow creature or something moving really, really fast. The snow's kicking up and everything. And
something's coming.
We see this little, very faint little thing of this little creature wearing a cape. And we realize it's Krypto the super dog. And he looks so adorable with his little floppy ear on one side, but another ear that's going up. His ears are all asymmetrical. And we talked about this before when they announced that Krypto was being in this movie and they revealed what he looked like, that he's not the same breed of dog that he's been in the comics.
No, not the same.
Because he's more of a golden retriever in a lot of other comics. Here he's just more of a weird fluffy dog, which is... The reason for that is because James Gunn adopted a dog that looks exactly like Krypto.
But I think it's a great contrast to have this little silly looking dog have these ridiculous powers.
Yeah.
Like it's a much more fun...
This dog's going to shoot laser beams out of its eyes and it's going to be the funniest thing.
Cannot wait.
But
and James Gunn also said like, it's not going to be like one dimensional. Like it's going to be like any pet owner knows this dog will be a pain in the ass sometimes.
Oh God, yeah.
Which will be... It'll make it even more touching, I think, when like the dog rescues him. Like the dog's really there for him when it counts.
I just had this vision of this scene because he, this is Clark. Superman is saying to Krypto, "Home, take me home," and he gestures to his cape for Krypto to put it in his mouth to drag him home somehow.
Yeah.
Which means that Krypto's, I guess, strong enough to lift Superman in his mouth and fly him through the air.
He's a super dog.
Exactly, he's Krypto the super dog.
Yeah.
But I just had this idea that there could be a scene where Superman's flying normally and Krypto's flying next to him, and his cape's flapping around the wind, and Krypto bites it and yanks Superman down, and then they all crash back and goes like, "Krypto, what are you doing?"
Yeah.
And he's just like, "I just want to play."
I want to see the dog fight bad guys too.
Oh my God, it's gonna be so funny.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna be so good.
Yeah.
I love that. It's so perfect.
That's going to be a standout set piece. I'm calling it the dog fighting invaders in the Fortress of Solitude.
I can see people clapping in the theater and whooping because the dog does something cool.
Yeah.
You put a dog in a movie, people are going to be into it.
Yeah.
Just in general.
Yeah.
It's a golden rule for any movie, I guess.
Yeah.
The very next shot after that, we have what I think was really the standout moment for me.
Splash page moment.
Oh, absolutely.
Sure.
It's Superman just saving a random girl from a big sort of explosion behind her and covering her head, and he zooms straight in and holds her, and a lot of people were just saying, that got me.
Yeah.
I'm in from that point on.
Yes.
I'm in.
I love that little detail, James Gunn paying attention to physics. Like, Superman is actually gently bracing her neck so he doesn't break it. Like
I'm seeing that now, yes.
Yeah. So there's an element, they're really emphasizing the gentleness of Superman.
Mm-hmm.
Like he comes in and he's like...
He wouldn't tackle her.
No. Yeah, but he's like, it's like a little thing where it's like, the way he's moving and how powerful he is, it's kind of scary. But he takes care to not scare people. Like he's gentle.
Well, I mean, that's the whole essence of why he's looking the way he's looking.
Yeah.
And not to get ahead of ourselves, but James Gunn talked about this, that he was, for the costume, he was against the idea of the trunks being on the outside.
Yeah.
Which is said, no, I don't really want to do that.
Yeah.
But David Corenswet had actually convinced him to do so, because as he explained it, that Superman wants kids to like him. He wants people to like him, but he wants kids to not be afraid of him.
He should look like a colorful wrestler or something.
That was his idea. Is he looks like a Mexican wrestler, wearing his underpants proudly out there, you know.
Also, just design-wise, it just looks better to break up that wall of blue.
Yeah.
And
if it's all blue, it's fine, but it looks too... I think it always looks too slick. It looks too clean.
It looks too, I don't know, inhuman. And I think that's a decision that's just made out of fear. Like, that's creative kind of fear. That it will look silly. No trunks.
Yeah.
It's just fear. Like, there's no good reason to remove the trunks except you're scared people will laugh at it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the only reason.
But again, that goes to the character, that people can laugh at him or whatever, but he's going to do some incredible things to make people go, well, he might be wearing his trunks on the outside, but he looks damn cool doing it.
Yeah, and like Superman doesn't feel the need to impress anybody.
No.
Like he's relaxed.
Exactly.
Like, you know, he's chill. Okay, so let's keep going.
Absolutely. And they also have this blooming shot of Lex Luthor from behind, and we see Superman flying across the windows of the Luthor Court building.
Zooming past.
Yes, and we see our first, very, very brief actually, we see other shots as well of Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. Now remember when he was cast, you were not as on board with him.
No, because I thought of him as just like the lanky nerd or whatever.
Yeah, I did too.
And I was scared that they were going to do kind of that.
I couldn't see him bald, to be honest.
I couldn't see it either. But Nicholas Hoult looks like he got in great shape. Like he fills that suit out.
Yeah.
Like he looks like the animated series.
Yeah.
And just, I was sold instantly when he like turns around and he has that huffy image, like look on his face, that pissy look.
That real sort of like,
And that,
God damn it.
just that image of like Luthor pissed off in his building while Superman zooms past has never been used in any of the movies.
No.
But it's such an iconic staple of the character to do something like that.
Yeah, it's a different look for Luthor. It's a different feeling, I think, for him, because also, like, I think Luthor's voice, particularly in the animated versions of him, like in the animated series, he was voiced by Clancy Brown. He had this very
deep,
big,
commanding,
sort of voice there. And a lot of other versions of him, he's meant to be more of this sort of big presence, I think. But I think it is very good to contrast David Corenswet, who's like 6'4", he got really big for this movie. He fills out his own suit there, to then, you know, oppose that with Nicholas Hoult, who is still tall anyway, but he's a lot skinny, as you say. Like, he fills out that suit, but he doesn't have that sort of big presence in that way.
No.
But he needs to do that with his eyes. He needs to do that as the character.
But I think it's
way.
important to show that Lex is in shape, because he wants to be Superman's physical equal, but there's a ceiling for him. He's just a human being.
He can only go so
and
far.
he's forever mad that he can never live up to the physical perfection of Superman.
Also, by the way, Nicholas Hoult is absolutely killing it lately. He has 3 movies out in American cinemas now. I mean, soon there'll be a couple for us, but Juror Number 2, Nosferatu, and The Order all out at the same time. He's doing a little bit of press for this, like the trailer or whatever, but he's just saying like, Lex's 3 favorite movies, Nosferatu, Juror Number 2, and The Order, all out in cinemas right now. Like, it's just... He's killing it, man.
Yeah, man.
I love him.
I'm happy.
I think he's so good. We have another shot of him with his 6-shot pistol.
Yes, looking. Both people said like hit Agent 47 from Hitman.
A little bit.
But what I love about this is he has this like look on his face, like a very sort of smug, villainous.
Yeah, he does this thing with his eyes or his face, where he's just like.
He's like, "What are you trying to do, you moron?" Like,
or he's trying to listen to like I think he might be doing a Russian roulette.
Yes.
It could be a kryptonite bullet or something like that, maybe.
And he looks just dastardly, which is what he's supposed to be.
And then after that, we have what also really solidified to me, like, oh my God, this looks incredible. It's this sort of low-angle, wide-angle shot of Superman in a glass box.
Oh, yeah.
And it sweeps over his foot. And some person pointed out that it goes from, like, extreme wide-angle to a much flatter angle as it pulls out, as if the lens is changing.
It had like a Sam Raimi energy to it or something.
I mean, I've seen James Gunn do this kind of shot with Henry Brahm, his cinematographer, in Suicide Squad and in Guardians 3.
I think Guardians 3 had that, some shots like that,
And this is him busting out of a glass box, while there's also a bunch of other people in other glass boxes.
Yeah.
Now, this could be that Lex is imprisoning people in some way for some nefarious reason, because in that shot with him in the gun, you can see other sort of squares behind him.
Yep.
Something's going on there. It must be imprisoning people in that way. And then after that, oh man, we have another shot of a bunch of people running away from a war-torn landscape, just frantically panicking or whatever. But we have a kid who's raising a flag with Superman's emblem on it, and he keeps chanting over and over again, Superman.
Well, it's more
Superman.
like he's praying.
Yeah,
like
there we go. That's better.
This really, this is when the tears started flowing for me.
Absolutely.
This image was so powerful,
As
and
I
that
said,
kid really sold like the hope and the he's afraid, but there's like hope to what he's saying as well.
Yeah, he believes in what he can
believes
do.
He will show up.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Which I get. See, there's where I think the God parallels to come in, but he's better than that.
Yeah,
he's not as benevolent and not as like, you are going to live because you are.
He doesn't deal judgment. He saves people.
Exactly.
And I think even the shot of the war torn area, it just looks like I don't know, like it looks great. Like there's something about it that looks kind of different than what you'd expect. It's still very colorful.
Yes, exactly.
Which I really like.
Mm-hmm. And we have another shot after that, which is David Cornsweet Superman walking through a bunch of people. His suit is very, very dirty, as if he's been through a big battle.
Yeah.
And people don't like him. And some dude tries to throw a cup at his head. And some person pointed out, man, imagine being so bold as to think you can throw a cup at Superman's head and it's going to do some damage.
That's a pussy move, because he knows Superman won't do anything.
Yeah.
So it's like
what are you going to do about it, huh?
Yeah. And it looks like, I like that Superman flinches, not because it would hurt him, but it looks like it hurts his feelings.
Yeah.
Which is the big thing with
Love
Superman.
that.
And the writer of All-Star Superman said
Morrison,
this.
Yeah.
He said, Superman can do every incredible thing, but if you break his heart, he's useless. And I think that's going to play a part in this movie.
Definitely. And we have our first look as well of Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner, looking absolutely awful, and I love it.
Yep.
It's so perfect. Guy Gardner, if you don't know, he's like the third Green Lantern that they introduced, or the fourth maybe. It was Hal Jordan, Jon Stewart, then maybe Guy Gardner, I think, then like Kyle Rayner, was it?
Kyle was before Guy Gardner, I think.
Oh, okay,
but
right.
Yeah, he's just one of the.
He's like a
douchebag.
He's like a redneck's Green Lantern or something like that. He's meant to be kind of more
and
like Republican or something.
His haircut is because Guy Gardner in universe is a fan of this comic called General Glory or something, and he modeled his hair after General Glory.
That's so dumb. I love it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
He's shooting his Green Lantern laser, which some people are like, oh, why is it a laser? Why is it not a construct? Because he's a shit Green Lantern, because he doesn't know how to do that, I imagine. He's just shooting a laser, I guess.
I have a feeling in that scene he's going to give Superman kind of a pep talk.
I don't think so. I think he looks angrier. I think he looks like, what are you going to do about it? We're doing it. Because he and we've also got Mr. Terrific and Hawkgirl, and they're all wearing kind of like uniform costumes, all kind of with this white trim, and there's obviously a hint that they're going to be working with corporate backers, Lord Tech, Maxwell Lord, and I think he's going to be more of the sort of, I guess, like the peacemaker type role in the Suicide Squad.
I think it's going to start like that, and then he's going to get inspired by Superman.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
And at this point, it's a real low point, and actually he comes in to give him kind of a pep talk.
Although I wouldn't be surprised if he's the one that ends up dying or something, and the other two are like, if the other two, Mr. Terrific and Hawkgirl, are more on Superman's side, and Guy Gardner's still a dick, and just being like, no, I don't want to do that, and then he ends up dying or something like that. I just think
that would be a
fun.
James Gunn kind of move for sure. Yeah,
it's James Gunn to cast Nathan Fillion as an asshole, and give him a stupid haircut.
Because Captain Hammer, like, he was so great as the obnoxious Captain Hammer. Like,
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I love him as just the small role in the Suicide Squad as the detachable kid with his arms that he could pop out of his body, and just the arms float around. It's just such a stupid superpower. We have a first shot of Hawkgirl flying in, That's played by Isabella Merced.
Yeah, really cool shot of her.
Hopefully she gets a better
action.
costume. Obviously, it's not meant to look that great because it's all sort of uniform or whatever.
Yeah, I think at the end of the movie, some of them won't be with Maxwell Lord and they'll have their own costumes.
Love Isabella Merced. She's fantastic. Really
perfect for that role.
excited to see that. We have a giant kaiju.
Yep.
Looking fire-breathing monster. Now, I have no idea what the hell this is. I don't know if it's from a comic, if it's connected to some
Superman
villain.
often fights big monsters.
Okay.
So I think it's going to be just a regular kind of... I don't think it's going to be a big part of the plot.
No.
I think it's going to be something that kicks off the movie probably even.
Yeah, this is was kind of revealed that the movie sort of starts in the middle of the action.
I think, fighting that big fucking monster would be a great way to start the movie.
Wouldn't be surprised. This movie starts in a way that things are already in play.
Yeah.
Like, here you go. Here's the story. Let's go.
Yeah.
It's not, taking its time with the flashbacks and the origin. Nope. Here you go. Let's start.
In media res, as they say.
Yeah. Which I think, that's what the Batman did very well, where it starts like he's already here. He's already Batman. People know what he is. People are already afraid of him. Let's go from here, basically.
Yeah. People know the origin by now, so...
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he's fighting the fire of that. And then we also have Superman and Lois in an apartment room in what is very clearly the promo shot that they released. The sort of the first look of the suit.
Yeah.
Which I had assumed that was fake. That it was just a test or something like that with a weird alien orb thing in the background.
Yeah.
But that's actually real. That's in this movie.
It's very interesting because there's no urgency there. I mean, in that scene, there's this big alien jellyfish thing. But Superman's on the couch with a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
If you look at it, and he's like talking with Lois. Mm-hmm. I think that big jellyfish thing is not a malevolent thing.
Other people might be afraid of it.
Yeah, I think it's not a threatening thing.
No.
But I'm interested, yeah.
Yes, we have also Superman and Lois doing a big kissy, but it's actually...
It's him as Clark Kent. There's no
him as
glasses.
Clark Kent without the glasses. Now, could this be really happening, or could it be like what either one of them imagines?
I think it's really happening. I think there's going to be a take where they're already together, but at work they put on the facade of like Clark and Lois,
I wouldn't be surprised if she already knows that he's...
She already knows and they're already together, I think.
Okay.
But I think at work they're going to play up, because otherwise people will put two and two together.
It's certainly different.
So I think that you could have your cake and eat it too, where you could be like, how could she not know he's Superman?
Yeah.
But also you could do the fun dynamic of her being her and him being like him.
See, now that might spoil like a twist or something where we think that they don't know each other, but actually turns out they do because they go home together.
Yeah, they go home together. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think it's a way to have your cake and eat it too.
I can see James Gunn doing that.
Yeah.
No, we don't know if that's really the case, but look, it's Clark in a shirt with no glasses on, kissing Lois,
and he's not in the Clark Kent hair. He's in like his real, farm boy hair.
Exactly.
So she obviously that's telling us she knows him.
And we also have what very much looks like Superman in the Fortress of Solitude, which is very production-wise looks exactly like
the Richard Donner.
Yeah,
it looks
not just the Richard Donner sort of that Fortress of Solitude, but it even got like little lights in the background that looks like Krypton. Like its origin is Krypton, where it had these sort of... It looks like a Star Wars hallway where you got like the pillbox lighting all around.
I hope they do the because this is also an all-star Superman, and I think it's in the comics too, where to get into the fortress, there's a key that he leaves on a doormat.
Yes, that's
but
right.
The key can only be lifted by him because it weighs like several million tons.
Yes, I have seen that.
Yeah.
That's so good.
So that they have to include that.
I would love to see that. That'd be amazing. He's cradling a robot in this shot.
Helix, it's his robot servant.
Oh, I didn't know he had a name.
I think it's going to be like I think an invasion would have happened into his Fortress of Solitude and the robot like dies trying to defend it.
This might be a little bit of spoilers or something like that, but I've seen some people taking photos of the fact that there is an extended version of this teaser that's playing in theaters, which has a couple of extra shots, two of which are a different look at Mr. Terrific, who we'll see later, wearing a very different costume, more accurate to the comics, less uniform to Lord Tech, but also Lex Luthor wearing sunglasses with his buddies from the Authority, which
Yeah.
might be the bad guys from this movie,
Yeah.
walking into what is clearly the Fortress of Solitude.
Yeah.
So I think they do something.
I think they fuck it up.
Yeah,
and
they
I
steal
think,
something or something like that.
Helix will have been his last link to Krypton.
Oh,
So then, like,
it's still
the
got
ro-
crypto.
Oh, there's Crypto, but like Helix has given him information and talks to him
Helix
and
can
tells
talk.
him about what a great civilization. So when that robot dies, it's like
Mm.
extra punch to it.
And we see the Fortress of Solitude sort of like the sort of the crystals rising up.
Yeah.
First look at didn't know what this was. I thought it was like Brainiac or something like that, but it's Metamorpho.
Yeah, I don't know much about Metamorpho.
No,
Yeah.
he's a bit of a typical James Gunn to just take some random C-list comic book character that no one remembers and go, "Yep, you're now in the first Superman movie. You might be the bad guy, but now you're on this level." Like he did that with the Guardians movies, where they're like, "Hey, I'm going to take,
Yeah.
the High Evolutionary,
Yeah.
which no one remembers, and
Yeah.
then make him the big bad guy of the third movie and probably one of the best Marvel villains
Yeah.
ever."
I think I love the practical effects on Metamorpho.
makeup,
I love
yeah.
the soulful eyes. I think that's a very James Gunn touch.
There's a massive building falling down in Metropolis.
Must
We
be
have-
from the kaiju attack, I'd imagine.
Most likely. We
Opening
have
scene.
Nicholas Holt's Lex Luthor looking like he's just been through an explosion or something. His suit's all tattered and he's getting really emotional. He's all kind of scarred up on his head and his face and stuff, and he's getting really angry.
I have a feeling it's near the end when everyone's cheering for Superman, and he's so angry it drives him to tears.
Oh, absolutely. I
Yeah.
can see that. And then we have another, it's the kid that was praying for Superman. I've now paused it right as the sort of the news tickets on the TV screen.
Yeah, it says troops amassing near
It
border
says
or something.
Baravian troops amassing at border. Level of threat reports coming in from the Baravian. So this was kind of leaked a little bit that the plot is going to involve a sort of Middle Eastern coded country that's been invaded or under attack in some way.
Yeah.
And the sort of political or corporate ramifications of that.
Yeah,
Sort of allegory for America's interruptions and influences over those
Yeah,
kinds of countries.
definitely.
Very James Gunn to do that, to be like, no, this is here's the problems with America, and this is how Superman's going to try and solve it.
those have been plots in the comics too.
Absolutely.
So it's like it just makes sense to do that.
Well,
do
to
it
have
that way.
to have the courage to do that, to not be afraid.
And I think the Maxwell Lord superheroes and the Authority will have been told to not intervene with that, or maybe even stoke that conflict.
Well, that's why I think, because there's with the shot of Green Lantern, you see Superman being very upset in
Yeah.
some way.
Yeah.
I think because those superheroes were basically told not to help the people.
Yeah.
In some way, so he's getting really annoyed by the fact that you guys are supposed to do stuff and you're choosing not to because you weren't told to by your corporate masters.
Yeah.
And that's bad because now these people are dying.
Yeah.
And he feels that.
Yeah.
And he maybe can't go and help them because of some other thing that's happening.
Yeah, exactly.
I love this. I love these ideas that this, even just with no dialogue, that this teaser is getting across to us that something is happening that is much bigger as a sort of like, it's the systems are becoming
Yeah.
the enemy to Superman rather than some guy he can
Because
punch.
because he can't just destabilize systems.
No, exactly.
Because he lives in the world too.
Exactly.
So he's going to be in a tough place there.
Seems like he's moving that big kaiju. We have the full shot of Krypto dragging Superman through the snow.
Very touching.
Just so beautiful.
It's such a touching little second.
He's such a good boy.
Yeah.
He's such a good puppy. And then we have, which is this Ultraman?
Yeah, people are saying that, but obviously it's just you can't tell who
He's
the
got a
hell it is.
U on his suit, which we've
Probably
seen from the
Ultraman.
the Cephos. I think it might be a Lex Luthor clone type thing, like something he's
probably
cooked up.
yeah, he's probably like had other superheroes locked up and experimented, and he's created this.
Wasn't that how he created Superboy? No, not Superboy.
Yeah,
Well, he kind of
he
Superboy.
did,
sort
but
of.
that was from Superman's DNA though.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it might be something
Along those
possibly,
lines, yeah.
We see this Superman and this black suited dude who's clearly flying, so he's definitely got.
And giving him a hard time.
Yeah, so they're fighting in a baseball stadium. And then we have first shot of Mr. Terrific, who looks amazing.
He looks badass.
He looks so cool.
Yeah.
Apparently, Mr. Terrific will have a main role in this movie. He's being shot at by a bunch of troops, but he's shielding himself with his
And Lois Lane.
super cool technology.
Lois Lane's in that shot too, I think.
Yep. She's in there as well.
Yeah.
Mr. Terrific is such a cool character, and I'm so happy that James was like, yeah, I want him to be like sort of big part of this movie.
Yeah.
To really show people, like, this is what this character is.
Yeah.
If you know DC Comics, if you read them, you find out about this dude, you go, this dude's sick. Why has he never been in a movie before?
Yeah.
Then one of our final shots is Superman and Lois flying up while kissing at the same time while embracing each other. Such a beautiful shot.
Staple kind of imagery from the comics.
Absolutely. And then Superman flying through fire, going right up into the air, right through the clouds, towards the sun. Final shot is Lois and Superman hugging just before that little jellyfish thing outside.
Yeah, I think that's such a nice, again, I like that they're emphasizing the Superman and Lois romance.
That romance that they... Yeah.
And I love that the first shot of this trailer is him crashing to Earth, and the last is him, like, you know, firing through the sky. One of the last shots.
Yeah.
But I think usually in these trailers, they'll do that last shot, cut to black, and then there'll be like a major exclamation point.
Or like some action scene or something like
But
that.
I love that it's just as simple as like Lois hugging Superman.
Not to criticize, again, Man of Steel, but Man of Steel's teaser is kind of like that, where it's more of mood and sort of images of...
A lot of Terrence Malick kind of things.
Nature and
the voiceover.
And sort of like you see how desperate Clark is and he's bumming it out or whatever. But then and then it says Man of Steel, and then the final shot of that trailer is him flying up, breaking the sound barrier. That sort of thing.
Don't get me wrong, those Man of Steel trailers are all-time trailers.
They worked on me, man.
They worked on me.
Yeah. Way back in the day.
Yeah, so that's why a bit like I'm like, man, I really got burned by Man of Steel. I don't want this to like let me down. But I have more faith because obviously it's James Gunn.
Exactly.
And I think James Gunn loves the Superman comics. I mean, frankly, like he knows...
He respects them. He knows what they are.
He knows what he's doing. He's not trying to reinvent or like he's not trying to... It doesn't feel like the creative decisions are made out of fear. Like they feel like they're embracing everything about it. Like down to even having like something as small as Guy Gardner's haircut. You could have just given him a normal hair thing and, you know... But he's daring to like embrace the aesthetic.
It's specific. He's doing this for a reason.
I'm sure there's a reason for the haircut too.
And the big thing I think that tells me this is going to be motivated by something completely different is because I pointed this out to you. The Warner Brothers logo is not found on this trailer or the poster, or even this wasn't even posted by the Warner Brothers YouTube channel. It's posted by the DC one.
Yeah.
So, and that's not to say they're distancing it from it, but they want to make DC Studios be the front and center thing that you think of when you think of Superman. Not Warner Brothers, not the corporate sort of stuff. You know, if that company, that film studio decides to go under and they sell all their divisions or whatever, let that be so. But they want to make DC Studios as valuable as Marvel was when Disney bought it back in the day.
Yeah, and I think it's a really smart choice not to have Superman like the title.
Yes, no Superman title, just you, because you hear it. You hear it so many times. You know what it is.
You know what it is.
It's got his cape,
there's
the thing and everything.
This is done so well that there's no doubt that's Superman. You know, there's no doubt. It can only be Superman.
Yeah, and for the poster as well, which I now have made my iPhone background. Just that
tagline. Look up.
So perfect.
It's brilliant. That's like brilliant copywriting. Like
some person was saying, I think that might be one of the all-time greats of just taglines because it's just it's perfect.
It's
exactly what you want.
It's nearly as good as "You'll Believe a Man Can Fly." I mean, you can't beat that tagline.
No,
you just cannot.
Not.
But this is just perfect. And what else was I gonna say that I really liked? Fuck, there's just so much.
It's so much.
Oh, people have been saying this looks like a CW show, and like, you know, to that I say, look, the CW shows, they were pulling from the comics. This is also pulling from the comics.
Yeah.
So there's going to be some kind of superficial similarities, but this to me looks really epic in scope and cinematic and like vibrant.
Yes.
So
definitely.
I don't agree with that at all.
No. Final thoughts? Anything else?
I'm so excited. I'm more excited for this now. I think.
Yeah.
I can't wait till July 11th. I'm there. Fucking. I don't care. Like, I'm pulling sick day. I don't give a shit. I'm there the first session. Like,
absolutely.
And
I don't even want to go.
it.
I don't even want to go to the screen for this. I want to go with like a normal audience in that way.
Too.
I want to pay my money.
And you know what? I'm convinced this movie's going to be a massive hit.
I think it will be.
This trailer is such a crowd pleasing.
Oh yeah, I mean
the vibes are all
it
right.
It says that 250 million views.
It's had crazy attention already.
Yeah,
And
highest for any Warner Brothers or DC film ever. More even than Avengers: Infinity War.
I think this movie's going to be a juggernaut.
Yeah.
Like before,
I think it's going to work.
Before I wasn't sure, But I think the appetite for like a classic Superman story has not been serviced, and it's absolutely there.
Absolutely.
I think even people who say, "Oh, Superman's lame," I think they just need to be convinced.
Yeah,
like they just need to be. They want to see it.
He's the template.
He's the template. Everyone
if you don't
wants,
think that you like Superman and you like other superheroes, you like Superman because he's the template. He is the thing.
Everyone wants to believe in it. They just need to be convinced.
Exactly.
And I think this is what that trailer, by and large, did.
Like Santa Claus.
Yeah. No. Exactly.
Exactly.
Yep.
That's the Superman trailer. We'll move into channel surfing. Do it really quickly because we got to get out of here relatively soon.
Let's go surfing now. Everybody's learning how. Come on a safari with me.
Things that we're missing out on that are out. We haven't seen them. Maybe we will review them at some point. Maybe War of the Rohirrim and The Lion King. Just addressing that now.
Yeah.
I haven't seen either movie. I'll get around to it.
Yeah, I will sometime
when
I can.
We'll see. Things that I watched, I did see one after the other, 2 screenings, bang bang, Nosferatu and The Brutalist. Now I'll probably talk about The Brutalist when it comes out a little bit later.
Yeah.
Both are incredible.
I can't wait to see them.
Absolutely. Nosferatu is out January 1st. Brutalist is out January 23rd. But I think The Brutalist is going to be much more of an awards favorite.
Yeah.
Nosferatu is probably going to get completely ignored by the awards bodies, but it is terrific. I'm a little annoyed that it's come out in this sort of late period of the year because I think it would have been absolutely perfect around Halloween because it is such a good Halloween movie.
Yeah, I could see that.
It is legitimately scary. Robert Eggers directed it. He makes this remake because it's a remake of the original movie.
Yeah.
But he enhances the original story while not trying to trot over it. It just is his version of it.
It's due for a remake though. I mean, the last one came out in the 70s?
Yes, that was the Werner
The first
Herzog.
was the 20s, and then so it's absolutely
120. It has a 100-year-old movie. Like, it's bound for a remake at some point. To me, it's his Nosferatu as much as Francis Ford Coppola made his Dracula. Like, that's his movie in that way. It's both movies really horny as well.
Awesome.
Very suspiciously horny.
That's what I like.
There's a bit of a choice with the Nosferatu Count Orlok character. Something they do with him that I was not entirely on board with at first, but I moved into it, and you'll probably see what that is. Bill Skarsgård is Count Orlok.
Yeah.
Completely disappears. I did not recognize him at all. Even more than when he's Pennywise. I just did not see him in this character. He's just gone completely. And The Brutalist is a masterpiece. Holy shit. It's 3.5 hours long.
The cinematography looks insanely good.
Incredible. And I'll tell you right now, there's no spoilers. When they say the word steel, it is the most electrifying thing I think I've seen all year.
Wow.
I walked out and went, yeah, let's go. And it has an intermission as well. It has an opening
great. Okay,
sort of overture
awesome.
and has an actual intermission, has a little timer that says 15 minutes and it counts down on screen.
Really? That's awesome. That makes me want to see it even more.
It was the coolest thing. I was like, oh, wow, an intermission, cool.
I think it gives you a break and it builds anticipation to see how it'll end.
Yep, so those are two of the best movies I've seen this year. You know what's another third best movie I've seen this year?
Yeah.
Another screening? Better Man. The Robbie Williams CGI 8 movie.
Yeah, I've heard that was pretty good.
Really, really good.
Yeah.
Blew me away, actually. I was not really a big Robbie Williams guy, but the fact that this movie is better than Bohemian Rhapsody, the Robbie Williams movie is better than the Queen movie, is fucking insane to me, but it's true.
Yeah, this one looks like it has a really specific vision.
Yes.
Like, of course, he's a monkey.
It's a true musical,
Yeah.
much in the vein of Rocket Man, where
Yeah.
it feels big and really gets you like electrified, but it's dark. It goes really dark at some points, which I really liked.
Cool. I'm excited. When does that come out?
That's Boxing Day here.
Oh, cool. I'll be watching that before the new year, I reckon.
Definitely. What did you watch, Rhys?
Well, recently, based on your recommendation and a lot of people's recommendation, I watched Transformers 1. And I was, the trailers put me off. And I was surprised because it looked childish and like too much of an emphasis on silly comedy. And then watching the movie, I'm like, they made it seem like comedic and places in the movie where it's actually not played comedically. No. And I'm like, wow, it's such a disservice.
It's genuinely funny though.
It has funny bits, but I think on the one hand I can see it because there's a twist in this movie. Obviously, Megatron and Optimus Prime will have to be enemies, but the way the story unravels, it's like a genuine twist.
Yeah.
So you can't really communicate that in a trailer. Like,
no,
it's
not at all.
a bit hard. So I can see it'd be a challenge to market this movie.
The tone is very off in the trailers from what the movie
it's
actually
completely
is.
not correct. This is more like a straightforward, almost like a Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
You know, and I think I loved it, and I hope I can see a sequel to see this story continue.
I would too.
Because I think there's actually an IDW comic book where Megatron actually goes on a redemption journey.
Yeah, I could see that being happening with this version of the character.
Yeah, like he answers for all his crimes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'd be such a cool way to go.
It's just the way that they were able to do so many of the other characters, like the way they did Starscream and Soundwave and Shockwave.
Yeah,
but also making the joke about Soundwave and Shockwave, which is such a like, oh, why are you two guys named Wave?
Yeah,
that's so weird.
Yeah.
But it's so good. Optimus is terrific. The action is so well done. The whole climax is so beautiful. It's so
awesome.
well done. I mean, I saw that with Mitchell back in September, and we're just punching each other in the arm the whole screen, and you're like, oh my god, that's so cool.
You know, you're like, they've done a good job telling the story when Megatron turns on Optimus, and you actually kind of gasp
When you feel it.
when you're like, what?
Yeah.
And that's ridiculous
When
because
it's
of course
shocking.
they're
I
mortal,
know.
and everyone knows that. But they've done such a good job leading up to that it still feels like, oh my god.
Look, it's Transformers by way of the Lion King.
Yeah.
In a way.
And
Like,
a bit of Toy Story, like in terms of like they're buddies and like,
yeah.
you know, they're it's sort of a cast
first, yeah, definitely.
system sort of thing, and you know they're very toy-like.
it's very political as well.
No, it is. Yep.
There's clear class systems that are being exploited and corrupted by corporate interests. It's like, oh, in a Transformers movie?
No, I think it's a great introduction for kids to these themes. Like genuinely so good.
Yeah, it's palatable in that way. They'll understand it.
Yeah. But it's, you know, it's interesting enough for an adult to be like, oh, like, you know, it's not just, oh, the planet's going to get destroyed for the 7th time like they do in the live action movies. So, yeah, I was a huge fan of it. I thought it was really well done. Yeah.
I still highly recommend that movie to anyone
me
who's
too.
on the fence of that one.
Yep.
A little bit of a quick fire round. Paddington in Peru. I did see that.
Yeah, not good, Al.
The first two movies are brilliant.
Yeah.
This one's fine for like 10-year-olds.
This one feels like almost like an episode of a TV show.
It looks like it too. Its cinematography is very bland.
Which is crazy because the cinematography in that second one was delicious.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it's a different director. It's a completely different writer, and I feel like it's missing something in that way. Also, Emily Watson is the mum, not Sally Hawkins. And I love Emily Watson.
They got rid of Sally Hawkins?
Sally Hawkins is gorgeous. I love her.
Yeah.
She's just fantastic, and she's so perfect in that role.
Yeah.
Having her gone, and don't get me wrong, Emily Watson does her best. I think
But
she's good.
Different vibe. That's
It's missing something. Yeah, it's missing a
don't
lot.
like
I feel.
that.
It's still, the visual effects are still really good for Paddington.
Yeah,
He still looks great,
Yeah.
but just around it, it also feels like it's repeating too much from the second movie.
Yeah.
You know, Antonio Banderas' character has like multiple personalities that talk to him, just like Hugh Grant did. It's sort of multiple.
okay.
It's him in different costumes or whatever.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
That's the same thing.
Yeah, so that was very annoying. Not terrible, but not great, and I was a little disappointed by that one.
Yeah.
I did watch Red One. It sucks. Ugh.
You
Anyway.
watched that shit?
Yep, I did. I don't know why I did, but I did. It sucks. It's really
Dude,
bad.
you
Fuck it.
also watched Kraven the Hunter.
Yeah, we should have maybe talked about that one last week, but I really didn't want to because it's bad. It's really boring. It's so boring. It is the most boring Sony movie.
I saw
More boring than Morbius.
I saw a YouTube scene of him fighting the rhino.
Yeah.
It just what are you
It's not. It's not.
What are
I
you
can't
doing?
say that it's an awful film, like one of the worst I've ever seen. I mean, it gets worse every time I think about it.
Yeah.
But it's not as bad as the other ones. Like
Yeah.
I might say that honestly, the worst of these Sony movies that they made is probably Venom: The Last Dance, because that was
right.
just shocking
that
to
was
me.
really terrible.
But then, like equally, like Madam Web, Morbius. This is just the most bland, nothing, low energy. Here's Chameleon. Here's the foreigner of all things, of all characters.
is there
to
any
introduce.
hint that Kraven would become a bad guy?
Oh, he's a bad guy by the end of the movie, but he doesn't give a shit because this universe is dead. They've killed the whole thing. They said
But
no,
isn't Kraven some kind of hero in this movie?
not really.
Really?
I guess I don't know. Ariana DeBose is in this. She's an Oscar winner.
Yeah, she's a Calypso. I heard she gives an especially
just-
bad performance.
Well, it's not a bad point. She's just there.
Yeah.
She just rocks up. I'm like, why are you here?
Yeah.
Fire your agent, honey. You were in Argyle. You were in some other boring space movie, and this. You just won an Oscar. You should be doing something better than this, love.
I take delight that this is being greeted with such apathy.
Oh yeah, I mean it's made absolutely no money, less now than Madam Web.
Huge bomb.
The universe is dead. The Spum is dead, unfortunately. No more Spum. They've dried out a spum. The sack is empty.
It's been dead for a long time, but
absolutely.
at least they're not going to parade the corpse around in a grotesque display.
They're going to focus more on other Spider-Man movies and the Spider-Noir series, which they've already filmed, I'm pretty sure, which has Nicolas Cage in it, actually.
Yeah, because he was a Spider Noir in... I'll watch that.
See what happens with that one. I did watch the first 4 episodes of Skeleton Crew, Star Wars
I
show.
watched the first episode.
What'd you think?
I think it's definitely an improvement over like Ahsoka and the Acolyte and stuff.
It's cute.
It's good, but it's a bit I just wasn't really into the story. Like it's a bit young. Like
second episode, I think, is really fun. When they go to
I've heard it gets better.
Yeah. I think with this one, maybe wait till all the episodes are out.
I might do that. I might wait till it's all finished.
We're watching it kind of week to week because it's a bit of fun, honestly.
Yeah.
I feel like it is much more fun than the other shows. It's not so bogged down by lore and references and all this other shit.
Yeah. I thought the visuals were pretty cool.
Yes, the visuals are very, very good. There's a lot more practical aliens.
Yeah.
Which I really enjoyed.
It just annoys me that, like, maybe this is a nitpick, but I don't like that in the Disney era the aliens speak like basic.
Yeah, that is true.
They should speak in like, nonsense words.
I always loved when they spoke completely different languages and everyone understood them and then spoke English to them.
But making the
aliens,
then they
understood.
Making the aliens speak like this American dialogue, it feels like a Disney thing.
It's also wrong because sometimes the mouth doesn't match.
It doesn't match. It's silly.
Although this show, the mouths are matching really, really well. I
think the technical
Wolfman. I love him the most.
Yeah, I think the kids are good actors in it. I think it's just for some reason for me it hasn't got me yet, but I'll give it a shot.
I'll watch all the episodes and I'll tell you how it's worth. It's the same with Agatha. Like you weren't really
and I will watch that.
Yeah. Eventually. So hopefully it's going to be the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
That's it for Channel Surfing. Do you have anything else, Rhys?
Just suck my dick.
That's a horrible thing to say to our beloved audience of, I don't know, 20 people or whatever, but it's fine. We love every person who does listen to this. We very much appreciate it. We've only been doing this for a couple of weeks. We might be taking a bit of a break just because of the holiday period. It gets all very crazy and stressful. Everyone's trying to do stuff. We will be back next year, I would say, with more stuff. We'll be covering a lot more of the awards-heavy movies. There's going to be some big stuff coming out in January as well that we are very excited for. 2025 looks to be a very, very, very good year for movies, honestly, with a lot of big, cool stuff happening that I cannot wait for. Thank you very much for being a part of Movies Are Back for this last couple of months with us, covering some very, very bad movies, I will be honest, week to week, but we do very much appreciate it. Where can the people find you, Rhys?
Right here.
Exactly. And you can find me elsewhere. I don't know. Right here as well.
Yeah.
Social media sucks. There you go. Bye.
There you go. Bye.